I also want to thank all of our witnesses, especially those who are on the front lines and have even been jailed multiple times, and we'll hear from them today about the things that have been done against them. And your commitment to freedom and democracy is inspiring. It really is inspiring for those of us who live in this republic. It reminds us of why so many of us serve here and what we seek to preserve around the world, and that's why we want to stand with you. Your fight and the fight of your fellow Hong Kongers is the fight of every human who yearns for liberty and dignity and demands that their fundamental rights be respected and be upheld. Let me say at the outset to the people of Hong Kong, we stand with you, and by we I mean this is a bicameral, bipartisan commitment, as you will see today and have seen in the past few days on these efforts across both political parties and every major figure. And not only that, but many Americans stand with you in your fight to keep your long-cherished freedoms. Recently, there have been very credible reports that have emerged of the police's brutal treatment of demonstrators while in their custody. This weekend, for example, we saw images of the police holding down a protester whose head was bleeding and spraying into the wound on the head pepper spray, which is an act of total cruelty. Watched the police throw tear gas grenades at journalists, many of whom were far away from the demonstrators. Since the 21st of July, pro-Beijing thugs associated with organized crime and the party's United Front activities have violently confronted demonstrators and journalists and innocent passerbys, and the police just looked on, looked the other way, and in some cases even cooperated. And while detained demonstrators have been beaten or their faces smashed into the concrete, journalists have photographed these same thugs in detention, quote unquote, smoking and playing on their cell phones after attacking journalists and demonstrators. And yet, Lam and the Hong Kong government refuses to press for any accountability for the violence by Hong Kong security forces that was committed and continues to be committed against peaceful protesters. The actions of the government and the people demonstrate that there are two Hong Kongs. The Hong Kong of the government, totally leveraged by the Chinese government, has proven that it is not committed